how to take advantage of new opportunities that pop up. Some people talk about this as luck, some people talk about this as serendipity, but there's really a science to how you can have dramatically better outcomes in uncertain times.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Unlocking Your Potential, the Secret of Success. And today I've got a very special guest, Jonathan Brill, who I recently met at Warsaw, a conference where we both were speaking. And I have to say, his speech impressed everyone because he was talking about a couple of things that are actually in his new book, and of course, the hot topic in project management, AI. One of the things I love about Rogue Waves is that it's about adapting, surviving, and thriving. And don't we all need that now? What is the secret of your success?
My success in business, my success in life has really been a result of finding comfort in times of change and having processes to turn coin flip decisions disproportionately to my favor.
You can do things that can create a better toss for yourself. Would you agree with that?
100%. In the United States, we have this perspective on luck that we make our own by working harder, by spinning that hamster wheel faster and faster, right? It's really important to be ready when the opportunity occurs. But the real question is how to create more opportunity. When we talk about making our own luck, almost all of the time, those new opportunities aren't things we create for ourselves. They're opportunities that other people create for us. So the question becomes not how do I run the hamster wheel faster, but how do I create more opportunities for other people to open the door to the cage? Almost always, if there's a lack of opportunity where you are, it's not a result of you, it's a result of where you are. How do you change that dynamic? How do you change those relationships? That's how you create disproportionate opportunity. That's how you create disproportionate luck.
You see things differently. You have a different point of view, which is an amazing one that so many of us hadn't really considered. So my next question for you is, how did you get started? How did you get through this journey that gives you this different perception?
My grandfather was an entrepreneur. My father was an entrepreneur. I kind of had those bones. My father's best friend was a guy named Steve Caney. He's an inventor, a toy inventor. He was one of those people who just kind of rolls through life and it keeps getting better and it keeps getting more interesting. And he keeps having more amazing conversations, new friends, and traveling the world. There's a snowball of potential in his life. And what I realized was that there are these two ways of going through life. One is that you track it and you plan it, and you say, I know where I'm going to be next year on Tuesday. I'm going to have a 5-year plan and I'm going to hit that plan, and I'm going to work in one company and for the rest of my life. And I'm going to go through this progression. And then there's this other world where it's like, that might be true, but what if it's not? How do I ensure that there's increasing potential in my life and increasing options in my life moving forward, instead of just optimizing, assuming that the future will be what I expect? I have some news for you, that the future is almost never what we expect.
Can you talk a little bit about the biggest impact on your career, especially as you look at the future, as you've just discussed?
We often look at the future as being something that's in the range of things we've experienced before, right? 8 of the 10 largest companies in the United States failed to identify pandemics as a risk. In our calculations, we were looking at it as about a 1 in 12 chance. So if you're a large firm, something you should probably be investing against. Why was that? It was because nobody in the rooms of power had experienced a pandemic. Not that they were unlikely, and not that we didn't know what the impact would be. We weren't prepared because we weren't looking at the larger history of human potential, the larger range of things that happen. When you look at the range of possible futures, you make different decisions about how you increase your options and how you increase your potential moving forward. You make small bets, small hedges that create outsized opportunities when the unexpected occurs. And you don't necessarily need to know that it's going to be a pandemic, or that it's going to be a land war in Europe, or that a meteor is going to hit the earth, right? Like, it's not about preparing or investing against specific, insane, unlikely edge cases. It's about recognizing that these things are likely. In an aggregate, they're often more likely than what we expect. It's just that individually they might be unlikely. What we can do to dramatically improve our outcomes in business and in life is to say, okay, what are those range of things that could happen? What are those range of things that have happened to other people? And how would they impact my finances? How would they impact my operations? How would they impact my environment, right? And how would they impact my strategy? And typically there's only 2 or 3 or 4 consistent patterns that occur. And if you look at, okay, well, how do I innovate against those patterns that would occur independent of the risk that we face? And how can we take advantage when that happens because no one else is dealing with it? That's how you create outsized opportunities, right? By having a different strategy, by having a different way of dealing with change than others, a way that gives you greater adaptability, greater flexibility, and more importantly, a greater ability to lean in.
Related to what you've just talked about, this idea of leaning into the unlikeliest possibilities that can really transform our lives. What
Yeah.
would you say your lessons learned are about that?
What I study is decision making under uncertainty, how we can manage risk when we don't know how to quantify it, how we don't know how to make sense of it, and how to take advantage of new opportunities that pop up. In the book, we talk about 3 concepts. We talk about this idea of awareness, this idea of behavior, and this idea of culture. The first thing is awareness, just becoming aware of the larger range of things that have happened. In your career, one great way to do this is to ask your parents' friends, ask your friends' friends. What was that thing that happened in your life, in your business, in your career that you hadn't expected, that came from left field, right? And often it will be, I got a chronic illness. There was a recession. My company was acquired. My company went out of business. There was, any range of things that you have not experienced. And then the next question is, okay, well, if you knew that was going to happen, how would you have done your life differently? How do I bring people together? How do I create connectivity for other people? How do I create situations where I can open more doors, right, by building networks of trust? And what I've discovered is that one of the best ways to improve your outcomes is for a lot of people to know what you're looking for. You go into a cocktail party and on average, people talk to about 3 people, like 2 of whom they already knew. What is the likelihood of that one additional person being the one that's going to create that breakthrough serendipity, open that door for you? And what's the probability of you actually asking for help of that new person? It's a totally different way of looking at this, right? Which is, what if all 100 people in that cocktail party knew what you were looking for? What if you were out there trying to figure out what 5-minute favor can I do for those people? How would your life look? How would their life look? What potential would open up in the world? Because what I can tell you is I've run a whole bunch of these parties. I call them serendipity salons around the world. And about 82% of people in a group of 65 or more will get help with the thing that they need. And yet we often go to these networking events. We meet one new person. We don't ask for help. And we wonder why they aren't effective. What I've really learned over the last couple of years is that is really the key to increasing strategic luck, right? Putting yourself out into that world, creating unexpected connections, asking, what is this 5-minute favor that's very low risk, very low stress, very low effort for the right person, but transformational for you? And getting really clear about that and asking a lot of people, creating situations where a lot of people can help.
How would you say you should get started on that? What's the advice you'd give about how to create this idea of reaching out into your community?
So I think a lot of people ask for help in ways that are unlikely to cause help to occur. Uh, there are 3 things that I find useful. One is recognizing that if there's anything that you really want help with, it's probably in service of a bigger objective than just you. So it's about figuring out how to create that situation where it's low risk, low effort for that person and high value for you. That's going to open up more doors. Just saying, I want this thing, it gives them an opportunity to say no. When you say, I'd like some advice, I don't know how to get from here to there.
I think that's very true, because the people you most want help from are those people for whom their energy and their time is the main resources of their life.
More valuable than money.
And therefore, keeping it sort of a tight ask so that you're not asking for too much of their time and energy is really critical to actually getting that easy ask, as you say, getting something that they can do for you quickly, and then they can move on to the rest of their day, because it's clear that managing your time and energy are the true limited assets we all have.
This is what I'm saying is like, if you really time box things, saying, you're probably too senior to do this, but you probably know who I should be talking to. Could you give me some advice? Literally no risk for them. Super high value for you.
So what's next for you, Jonathan?
I am speaking and doing training around the world now, working on a next book, starting a study on this idea of strategic luck.
So we should stay tuned for that. And if you haven't seen the book, Rogue Waves, I suggest you check it out. I'll put the link below to the Amazon store so you can get your own copy. It is chock-a-block with great insights and information, lots of great models to follow, and I am going to definitely be using this in the future. Jonathan, I'm sure many people listening today would love to follow you on LinkedIn. Can I put your details below?
Please do.
Thank you. And thank all of you for listening. And I hope to see you next time on ProjectSkillsMentor.com. Bye-bye, everybody.